Peace everyone, Unmask here, and welcome to the Drawing Journal Live. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about some of my channel stuff. I'm going to be introducing you to this project that I've had planned and kind of started about 6 months ago, but I've never really talked about it, never really revealed it to anybody. But today I'm going to be working on it because some plans have changed about it, so I thought, why not go ahead and introduce it and talk about it a bit. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is the changes to my Patreon page. And if you've looked around to some of my channel art, both here on YouTube, over on my Patreon page, and over on Facebook and whatnot, you'll notice that I made a few artistic changes to kind of my channel art and things like that. And that's a small part of the changes that have been implemented. But the biggest changes and the reason for the title of this week's drawing journal is because I am kind of shifting my focus for my weekly tutorials. For instance, last week I did the live stream of drawing a rose, and that's going to be the format that I'm using for these weekly tutorials. I'm going to start live streaming them. Good morning, Corey. Thanks for joining the live stream for a bit. So the changes that I'm making is I'm going to start live streaming all of my weekly tutorials, but it's just going to be for Patreon supporters. Now, initially when I announced this change happening, I had set it for $10 a month, and that was going to be for all of the live streams, all of the archived videos, all of the reference photos, all of the color palettes, everything. And then even access, it would have full access to my Patreon feed, so you would have all of those benefits. However, I decided to drop that price in half and make it $5. So the live streaming tutorials will be still just for Patreon supporters, and it will be just $5 a month. And to give you some idea of just how much you get for that price, it will be one live stream every week, where I go from the very beginning of the project to the very end of the project, telling you all of my steps in detail. It's going to be a live stream, so I'm not going to leave out any detail. And you don't necessarily have to tune into the live stream. It's just an option for you because of what I'm offering, and it gives you the chance to work alongside with me and do each project together with me. You can ask me questions in real time and I'll answer them. Basically, you can think of it kind of like a weekly art class for just $5 a month. If you were to look for something like that, like in your city or something like that, it would be significantly more expensive. So having the option of doing it online allows me to do it for people all around the world for a much cheaper price than what you would get if you were to try to find something like that at an art store or an art studio or something like that, or a school. So that's kind of the big changes that I'm making. So you can expect a lot of future encouragement to go to my Patreon page. I'm still working out some of the details for recording the live streams at a quality that is worth uploading to YouTube. Obviously, these live streams will still be on the YouTube format for watching them. However, they will be private for just the Patreon supporters. But even though those changes are going to be implemented next week, this weekly live stream, the Drawing Journal is always going to be on Mondays, live streamed for everybody to watch. And it's very likely that in the future I will do more live streams on YouTube, just for everybody, just for fun, because I have so much fun doing live streams. So don't get too discouraged by the $5 price tag. I'm still going to do live streams for everybody on YouTube because I enjoy it too much to not share it. But for the live stream tutorials, I am going to stick to just the Patreon supporters. And those tutorials will still be uploaded. Like I said, I'm still working on the way I'm going to record those live streams, but they will be short time-lapsed versions, and once I kind of get everything figured out, also it will be the regular narrated versions that I've been doing for quite some time as well. So you're not missing out by just sticking to what I have on YouTube for free, but you are benefiting a lot to support me on Patreon, and I'm benefiting a lot by you supporting me on Patreon. So that's some of the big changes. Had something else I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so you can expect a Patreon video coming out on my channel soon, kind of a much shorter video that's going to explain all this stuff. That will be out hopefully next week. I'm trying to write it right now so that it's not a super boring video. So it's putting a lot of thought into the video as well. But yes, so if you do see this and you enjoy my live streams and you'd like to do more, then definitely check out my Patreon page. The link will always be in the description, and it will be on my homepage for my channel itself. Yeah, I'll be mentioning it all the time now for obvious reasons. But what else? So what else is going on this week? So tomorrow, I'm very excited about tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video is going to be collaboration with Black Summer Coloring, who I've collaborated with in the past. So it's another collaboration with her, and so I'm excited about that. I had so much fun drawing the picture that I did for the collaboration. So be sure to check that video out tomorrow. It will be live tomorrow. And then what else? So Wednesday is going to be another live stream, another public live stream. This is going to be the weekly tutorial. This will be the last public weekly tutorial before switching over to Patreon. So it's going to be an acrylic painting tutorial, and that's another thing that I'll be adding to the list of live stream tutorials over on Patreon, is I'll be doing acrylic painting tutorials alongside colored pencils, and I'm probably even going to start adding in maybe a graphite, just a regular standard drawing tutorial. So a lot of fun stuff happening. I haven't even come close to being tired of creating or running out of ideas, so they're just going to keep coming. But I have to start making money too, so that's why I have to keep these live streams Patreon based, because I have to be able to afford to continue making content. So a little bit of more detail on this drawing here. Yes, so the project that I'm going to be going public with now, I don't know how drastically it's going to change over the course of the next few months or whatnot. So this drawing here is something that I sketched up probably about 5 months ago. And it's always been part of an idea to make an adult coloring book. It's always kind of been something that I've been working towards, but not one of those normal boring coloring books where it's just a bunch of shapes and you color in shapes and there's really no skill involved whatsoever. It's more just the therapeutic the more therapeutic drawings and coloring. I wanted one that had like a purpose to it, something that I enjoy, and drawing anime is something that I've always loved to do. And one of the things that I always wanted when I was learning to draw anime was a coloring book, an anime coloring book, but not one that was filled with mediocre, boring artwork. I wanted something that had a challenge. I wanted a coloring book that wasn't going to be like what you would give a 5-year-old. I wanted a coloring book that you'd give an adult and they would be challenged by the content that's in it and coloring what's in it, rather than just some boring old shapes and something that's not going to be beneficial in the end when you color it. So my plan, and I intended to launch this project a few weeks ago, but I just have been so far behind on pretty much everything art related that I never really got the chance to finish this project. I was going to be drawing and inking all of these off live stream. It wasn't ever going to be part of the drawing journal, and obviously today it is. And this drawing is something that a few of you might recognize from a previous video. I did the digital drawing of this first before. That's how I created this character and this scene and everything, is that I did it digitally first and then went in and started drawing it on paper. And it was always meant to be on paper in the first place. And now I'm finally getting it on paper. And so right now I have 8 drawings, 8 full-scale drawings just like this that I have drawn digitally. I drew them all digitally first so that I could not waste paper and spend all the time sketching. Digitally was just a little bit easier to get the ideas down quickly and have it all saved. So this is just one of those drawings. This is the first one, actually. So you're seeing the first drawing of that idea coming to life. And so for the next however long it takes me, I am going to be working on finishing these pieces, all 8 pieces, probably not 100% live streamed, though it might very closely come to that, depending on depending on whether or not I find the time to work offline and just work on them sitting at home or whatever. But for the most part, I'm probably going to live stream 60% of these drawings to get them done. 1, to get them done, and 2, it's a good way to kind of introduce the idea. eventually I want to make all of these line art drawings available to color for anybody to color, and that's kind of the plan with this. They're going to be pretty detailed, and they're not going to be easy to color. They're going to be good practice, to say the least. They're going to be good practice to color, not something that you would find in, a children's coloring book, not designed for that audience. And it's something that I've always wanted, and I really have no idea of a market for this kind of coloring book. I have not seen anything like this, and I'll be very disappointed if somebody beats me to it, which is part of the reason why I never talked about it, because I continually would search online for coloring books of this style and caliber, and I've never come close. A lot of people do line art, and they have it for sale for people to download digitally. But one of the things I always wanted to do with this book was to make a physical copy, because not everybody has a printer. And if you make digital line art available, it kind of cuts out all the people that want to color things traditionally, which I think is more popular than digitally, than the people that want to color digitally. Greetings, Wilhelm. Thanks for coming to the live stream. Glad you're able to make it. I know it's still a bit early in the United States, but I'm glad you're able to make it. Yeah, so I have the plan with all these drawings is I wanted to get them done, and then I wanted to set up another Kickstarter to fund the production of the physical copy of the book. That was my plan. I didn't think that it had much chance, because it was going to be a much larger Kickstarter than what I launched at the end of last year. And because of that, I was kind of hesitant as far as making it public, making the project public. But the Kickstarter last year was so successful that I'm a bit disappointed that I hadn't finished these drawings yet. I have all 8 of my drawings digitally, but not traditionally. And that's really where all the time's going to go. I want these to be traditional drawings, because I considered I could just print out the digital versions of these drawings, but that's not the kind of artwork that I wanted to produce in the beginning. It was just the sketch. I just produced the sketches. So now I'm working on doing the traditional versions of all these drawings, and I look forward to it, because it's been a long time since I really went back to my roots as far as what I've always been interested in drawing and creating. And these original pieces that I'm going to be drawing for the next, what feels like forever probably. These are the most original pieces that I've produced on my channel. And I don't know how much of that background I've shared as far as how I got into drawing this style, but this is my most organic style. Like when if I sit down and I draw something, this is what I draw. This is the kind of things that I would draw without what's the word I'm looking for? Without influence, like just my original things, and that's what I like about this project the most, is that it's kind of that chance to get back into doing what I've always really liked, what I've always really enjoyed doing, and I've never really shared that on my channel before. Yeah, marketing the finished product, the coloring book. Yeah, I mean, if I could get it into art school bookstores, that would be pretty phenomenal. But I don't know how strong that would be for target audience for the anime fans. I think because it's kind of, it has that audience base, that it might be better to promote it like at an anime convention or something like that, where people, because anybody that's interested in anime, like a big anime fan always draws anime as well. Like that's what they always try to draw, and I think that would probably be the audience that would be better to market towards, rather than the students at an art school. Greetings, Oliver. Hello, thanks for coming to the live stream. I'm good. How about yourself? Yeah, same here. I'm not a huge fan of the digital books either. I've always preferred the physical copy of the book, even when reading, like reading books. It's always been more the traditional stuff, the hard printed versions of the book that I gravitate towards. There's just something about holding the actual book in my hand that makes me feel better about it. I just enjoy it more. I've been so excited to work on this piece, and start filling in the details, and just showing everybody kind of the work that I love doing. This has always been, like I said, this has always been like my style. And it's nice to just kind of get back to it. I almost feel like I'm back in high school again, because this is what I did. This is the kind of stuff I'd get in trouble for drawing in class and be told to pay attention and things like that. This was the kind of stuff that I would be drawing. Obviously not as good. I was not nearly as good now as I am. I'm not nearly as good. I was not nearly as good in high school as I am now. Goodness, that took a long time to get out. But I'm a bit out of practice. I used to do pretty much nothing but inking, and now I almost struggle with holding the pen with any sense of confidence. But I think that after a couple hours of live streaming and drawing, I'll be back to where I was. I am going to have to move the drawing around a bit. that's the thing with inking. Like, you have to have freedom from, you have to be able to move the paper around freely, and I'm going to do my best to try to keep it in frame at all times, but there's just no way around it. In order to get good, nicely inked lines, you have to be able to move it. And this is part of the reason that I never do this kind of drawing as a time lapse. If I could walk around my table and kind of, instead of turning the drawing or turning the camera or anything like that, if I could just walk around my table and ink it from all the directions that are necessary, then I would probably do time lapses of drawings like this. But because I have to sit at the table that I have, I can't really, it's not really an option. So instead, I just never do time lapses of inkings, because otherwise the paper would be spinning around all kinds of directions. So I think I can actually, I'll zoom in a little bit so you get a bit better picture. You can see it's starting to come to life a little bit, especially in the eyes. And I'm going to draw the hands. When I shift the paper around, it makes quite a bit of noise, and I apologize for that. I'll try to keep that down to a minimum. I don't want to make all kinds of loud paper noises while I'm shifting the paper around, but it can be difficult. The one thing that I have always enjoyed about inking is just how unforgivable it is. It's like, if you make a mistake, there's no going back. You have to start over. So that's one of the things I've always enjoyed about inking, is the level of focus that it requires. And I think that's probably why there's not too many people that do it. I mean, there's plenty of people that ink, but for the most part, they don't ink very well. Just put it at that. I've seen a lot of people inking, and for the most part, their lines are just flat and not very artistic. Their lines, basically, they use one pen, and they just constant pressure, same line width for all their lines, and that's not very good inking. That's boring inking. Most of the lines that I will put in this piece are probably not what you'll see very well on camera right now, but I will go back over again and again when doing the final inking of this drawing, and all of my lines will be just as smooth as butter. I will work and rework that line until it is just absolutely flawless. That is my end goal. So how can you order my stuff? I assume that you are referring to my art, and the truth is, right now there is no way to order my art like without going directly through me. So if you wanted to order something, say a print or something like that, you would have to contact me. Go to my you can contact me at theartist@unmaskart.com. I have the email in everywhere, so it's in every location. So and you can tell me what you want, and I will tell you what it cost, and then you will pay me through PayPal, and I will ship it. And that goes for commissions as well. So if you're interested in a commission, hiring me to draw something for you, contact me. I'll give you the details for my commission, and that will be the beginning. There's a lot of I do a lot of planning, so when it comes to commission work, I require as much information as possible, if not the exact reference photo that you would want me to draw or something like that. So that's the only way at this moment to order anything from me. Yes, but you can order pretty much anything you want. So a print or something, yeah, I can do prints. Just have to order them directly through me. No automated website at this time. Hopefully this still, okay, it's still a pretty good location, I see. I would say the only drawback to doing a lot of inking is I feel like it does get tiring. Your hand, it gets much more tired than if I were like coloring or painting. Because it requires just the most subtle of movements. But it also requires a light touch. You can't really drag the pen. You have to feather it almost. You have to have really good control. It's nice to it's really nice to be working on this piece right now. It feels like it's been way too long since I've gotten to draw anything that I just genuinely want to sit down and just have fun with. Not quite sure how long I'm going to be live streaming for. Essentially, I'm just going to be working on this piece until either my fiance is home or I get too tired to continue. She won't get home for about 4 hours, so I got plenty of time to draw. Yes, it is 1:30 right now in Poland. So do you guys have any questions that you'd like me to answer? Any other questions aside from what time it is here? Yeah, I checked my website. I don't know why it would have a private error. I had no problem viewing my website, and it didn't show any issues or anything like that. So the only thing I could imagine it being is somehow your connection with the website. I have no idea how to go about fixing such a thing, though. I don't really use my website anyway, so even if you can't view it, it's not important. There's nothing on my website. to be completely honest, I really only have a website for the sake of having an email address that looks professional, which is probably a really bad idea, considering it doesn't do any good for me, and I might end up just throwing my website away and just switching to a different email account, because it's pointless. It doesn't do any good for me, and you don't seem to even be able to access the website, which defeats the purpose of having a website in the first place. So I may just get rid of it in the end. Let's see, what else is planned here? So I have, so for some of the weekly tutorials that are coming up, I'm going to be doing hair, and this Wednesday I will be doing kind of a fantasy landscape thing. I don't quite have the concrete idea in mind, but I do have some rough ideas as far as the this Wednesday's tutorial. So it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I'll have everything figured out before I go live on Wednesday, and I'll have the thumbnail created. Actually, I'm going to probably do the thumbnail today and schedule out the event for this Wednesday. So, drawing a church, well, I mean, drawing a church wouldn't be much more different than drawing any other building. But yeah, Poland does have a lot of really extravagant churches over here, and in Katowice in particular, there's quite a lot. But to answer your question as to whether or not I am good at drawing from a photo, the short answer to that question is yes. I can draw from a photo quite well. I do want to do a drawing tutorial in the future, and architecture would probably be a good idea. I think that's a good subject to work on. It kind of brings in the idea of perspective, working with perspective and proportions, and I think that could be a good idea. When, I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing the idea around, but it could be something that I do in the future for sure. But when it comes to drawing stuff like that from a photo, it's I mean, there's a lot of different techniques that you can use for drawing things from a photo, and sometimes it's not the drawing part that's the hard part, it's the coloring part, and that's kind of been my focus for my channel a lot of the time, which I'm hoping to kind of change a bit. Like I would like to do a bit more drawing tutorials. I don't have too many of them. And it'd be nice to kind of get a few of those on my channel. So perhaps in the future I would draw something some architecture or something like that. I don't know if it would be a church. It's kind of not necessarily the subject that I'm interested in, but it's an idea to do architecture for sure. I did this project once when I was in college, painting, and it was a really cool looking government building. Maybe I'd do something like that again. Talk about the drawing process maybe. But so the next question here is how I choose colors for a portrait. Greetings, Francie, I think. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Thanks for joining the live stream. No apologies necessary for your English. So the question, how to choose colors for a portrait. Well, that depends on, one, whether or not you are using a reference photo. If you're using a reference photo, then match the colors to your best ability of what you see in the reference photo. But if you're not using a reference photo, I'm not sure what your goal would be, perhaps to draw a portrait from memory, or maybe to draw a portrait just to create a person, an imaginary person from your mind. And if that's the case, where you're trying to draw somebody that doesn't exist and kind of just come up with a person and then color them, well, first I would probably recommend that you practice working from a photograph first, so that you get comfortable with working with skin and skin tones, and making sure that you're able to first draw a portrait. I think that one of the there's kind of this idea where you should practice everything before trying it, but that's not necessarily the case. It's always good. I think that it's always good to just jump in and push yourself and see what you're capable of doing, and working with portraits is one of those ideas. So if you want to just jump right in and create a portrait with no reference, what I would probably recommend you do is use a reference anyway, and not draw the person that you're doing. But if you're looking at colors, think about the way you want the portrait to look. So what lighting do you want? Outside lighting or something like that, and use that as a guide for your color choice when you're creating your own personal portrait, your own creative portrait. So even when you don't have reference photos, get reference photos and find a way to use those to your advantage. It doesn't have to be a reference photo of what you're drawing, exactly what you're drawing, but it could be a reference photo in regards to lighting or colors. I do that all the time. In fact, you'll see somewhat of a glimpse of me doing that in tomorrow's video, because in tomorrow's video I am doing a collaboration, and I'm coloring something that I have never drawn and never colored. But because of my experience with color and my ability to use reference photos, I was able to get the look that I wanted simply by using my references to guide my color choice for the look that I was going for with the piece. So that's what I would strongly suggest if you're doing some kind of portrait. There's no shame whatsoever in using references. There's no if you go to one artist that you really like their work, and now better yet, say you have two artists sitting in front of you and you like both of their work, and you find out that one artist uses reference photos and the other artist doesn't use reference photos. What difference does it make? None at all. If finding out that one artist uses reference photos and the other doesn't changes the way you like their work, if it changes the way that you like their work, I think that's ridiculous, because you can have it flip-flopped. If you see two artists and one artist you like their work and the other artist you're like, I don't really like their work, and you find out the artist that you don't really like their work, they don't use any reference photos, and that somehow triggers an understanding as to why their work looks the way it does, and then you start liking their work more simply because they don't use reference photos. That's just as ridiculous as not liking somebody's work because of their use of reference photos. Anyway, so that's a tangent on the usage of reference photos. Not that anybody asked, but that's kind of my feelings on it. This kind of hairstyle here that I'm working on is fun. It is very difficult, but fun nonetheless. Let's see if I can kind of break down the thought process between like how I go about drawing this kind of hairstyle. So with this kind of complicated hairstyle, the way that I work, I see all the hair is really curly. There's a lot of detail to it, and the way that I approach it is I establish the look on the face, which is always the bangs. And what I do next is I draw the dominant shapes of the hair. For instance, these big curls coming right off in front of the face, those are dominant shapes, and those are the things that I establish first. The next thing that I work on is not only are these the dominant shapes, but also the body of the hair on the outside, kind of shape that in. The next thing I do is I throw in more of those styled twists throughout the rest of the body of the hair, and I pick out like 3 or 4 of them and create the detail for those 3 or 4 specific ones. And I try to match the flow of the hair in general with those 3 or 4 predominant twists. And then for all the filler, like this space here, I just make it up. And in this case, like throwing a line, kind of curling this way, and then adding a little bit of detail there, it just fills it in. In your mind, it doesn't really make all that much sense, but when you look at it, it looks full, it looks correct, and so those are the freedom parts that you get with this kind of hairstyle, is you get to fill in those tiny gaps with just about anything, and it's not too difficult to do. But yeah, hair is always something. Creating hairstyles has always been a challenge that a lot of people just constantly struggle with, and I've struggled with it too. Like when I first started drawing and creating my own characters, and just like, how's it done? I would see people like drawing hairstyles and just creating all kinds of fun things, and it just baffled me for the longest time. Like, how on earth do you create a hairstyle just out of nowhere? And eventually I got to the point where I became that kind of person to other people, where I'm just creating hairstyles out of nowhere, and it's a different feeling for sure. I have a few videos that I made that address the way that I go about drawing hair and whatnot, and I still can't really describe how it all, like, how it works and how to do it. It's really quite difficult to describe the way that I create hairs. But I try to break it down in the best possible way to somewhat give a framework for the thought process that I have while creating hairstyles. Hair was always that really difficult subject to work on, but now it's like my favorite. I just love the fun things that you can do with creating hairstyles of all different types, and just going crazy and making the most unrealistic hairstyles that would never be possible. And that's one of the things I always enjoyed about anime, is just the absolute insanity of the hairstyles that are created. So here's one of those like little filler areas where I just kind of threw in some lines to make something. The other thing about, like, once I start inking this character's hair, the curved like the curved lines, the smooth curved lines are so difficult to get. It takes like just so much patience in order to get those lines in the hairs. I think what I'll do is I'll ink this top part. I think I got the top part pretty good, so I will work on that for a bit and just kind of hopefully you guys are having fun. I haven't seen too many comments lately, but hopefully you're still sticking around and hanging out. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to answer them. Just kind of adding some jagged lines in some of the spots of the hair here, and that's what kind of gives it that texture that makes it look like straight across cut bangs. Trying to make sure my lines are all smooth and in the right direction as well. There we go. And if you're curious about the pen that I'm using Mangaka pens. You can see there, Mangaka. They kind of a new pen that I've never used before. They're pretty comfortable. I think that probably the biggest part is the cap. The cap is not all that comfortable, and the thing is you have to have it on there because they're really short without it, and it doesn't feel comfortable drawing with that. So I have to add the cap, and then this thing I don't like it. But the ink in them is really great. The ink is great. So no complaints there. Greetings, Anne. Nice to see you in the chats again. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see. So I'm gonna bring this line down. This hair here is kind of on top, so it's sometimes hard to keep track of all the lines and keep things where they're meant to be. Especially with such a complex hairstyle. This hairstyle is difficult to draw for sure. Let's see. The text box on my video recording has been stopped automatically. I do apologize for that. I did not see that. Thank you for letting me know. Hopefully that wasn't up there too long. There. If that happens again, let me know. I don't know why that would I don't know why that would happen. I haven't had that message before. Maybe I'll put my window down here so I can see. Just in case it happens again, I'll put it there. Thanks, Anne, for letting me know. What I think it might be is that what I'm trying to do right now is test out. I think you can see it actually. Yeah, you can see this red dot over here. That's not me. That's my camera recording. So I'm glad I just now noticed that. But what I'm trying to do is record on my memory card while also live streaming, because I want to test it out as far as being able to take the footage from the drawing and then edit it later. Not this particular one, I'm just testing it out for this video. But yes, so that's probably what that message was, is that it stopped automatically. I must have went over a half an hour of recording, which is the problem that I have with this camera, is that I can only record for a half hour. I can only keep the whatever thing open for 30 minutes, and then it automatically closes. So since you are just now joining us, I will kind of go back over some of the things that I went over in the beginning of the live stream. So the changes that the video is referring to, that the thumbnail and the title are referring to, are the changes that I'm making to my Patreon page. So my weekly tutorials, I've mentioned before, are going to be live streamed only for my Patreon supporters. However, the drawing journal, like this here, is always going to be available to everybody. But the live stream tutorials will only be for Patreon supporters. And when I initially changed it, I had it at $10 a month. Yes, I agree, I need an alert every 30 minutes. When I initially made those changes, I had it set for $10 a month. However, I decided to put it at $5 a month. So for $5 a month on Patreon, you'll have access to all of my reference photos, all of my live stream tutorials, along with all of my real-time drawing that I did in the past, which I think is like 10 or 15 hours worth of just real-time drawing of my previous tutorial videos. And then all of my digital color palettes that I use for my live stream, or my tutorials, you'll have that. So it will be the reference photo plus the color palette. So every month you'll have access to upwards to 10 hours worth of real-time drawing videos and step-by-step tutorials. So that's the big changes that I'm referring to in the title. And I'm trying to encourage as many people as I can to go over to my Patreon page. So hopefully I can get a few new people. with those price changes and the enticement of live streamed tutorials from beginning to end. I'm even considering doing like extra long live streams where instead of doing it one time, like for instance, somebody asked if I would live stream an entire portrait drawing, and I was like, oh goodness, that would be insane to do. That would just be like the longest live stream in the whole world. And what I would probably end up doing is live streaming one part at a time. And I would do that for Patreon supporters if I could get that kind of support, where I would do a portrait from beginning to end, and then just break it up into sections, which is the way that I draw portraits anyway. I break it up into sections. I do the skin first, then the hair, then the clothes, and kind of that direction. That's the direction that I usually do with my portraits. Well, actually, I always start with the background first, but that's assuming the portrait has a background. Which, if I was to do a tutorial of a portrait, the last thing that I would probably do is a portrait with a background. I'd probably leave that out because then it wouldn't be... the focus would be on the background, not a portrait, so it kind of defeats the purpose, but I'd at least mention what I do. And for backgrounds, I always do background first on anything. Completely. 100%. The background is always 100% complete before moving to any foreground object. It's just the way that I always do it, and it most likely will never change. Goodness. I think I've been drawing for about an hour now, and I have a bit of it inked. I would say I probably have 10%. That might even be maybe like 7% of the drawing is inked. So still plenty to do. And this is just the initial inking. So this is just with a flat line. Like, what size is this? This is 1. So it's 0.1, I think. Or I think it's 0.2. No, it would be, I don't know. I don't know what size it is. I don't see it here on the pen, which is weird. Anyways, it's small. That's all I'm trying to get at. It's a small size. And I do this just for the initial line work, and then what I do is I go back through and rework the lines to make them super smooth, and then also add the additional thickness in areas to create the shadows and all that fun stuff. Let's see here. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I had a pretty nice, relaxing weekend. My fiance made this new dish that we hadn't had before. I forget what they are called, but essentially they're cabbage rolls. And we had it filled with kasha and lentils. And they were quite good. They seemed like a whole lot of work, though, to make. She made them. I didn't. I worked. But they were tasty. And what else? We watched Monsters, Inc. That was something that we did yesterday. That movie was not as good as I remembered it. I remember when it came out and I thought it was a good movie, and it's still a good movie, but it's just not as good as I remembered it. And other than that, didn't do too much else this weekend. But it was relaxing and nice, so. I actually, I worked very, very little this weekend. So Friday I worked somewhere upwards of 13 hours on Friday. And so it was really nice to just kind of get as much work done as possible on Friday, even though it was painful. And then just take the weekend off. I finally had like a weekend where I didn't have to do anything. And now it's kind of weird going back to work. It was like the first weekend I didn't work. I mean, I did some things, but very, very little. Because I mentioned it at the beginning that I'm going to be doing a video for my Patreon page. And so I started kind of writing a script, I guess you could call it, for that video. And some ideas to make the video good. But nothing too concrete. And so anytime I got like just a hint of inspiration to make the video, I ran into my room and I wrote it down really quick. But that's pretty much as close to work as I got. So not too bad. Not too bad. Definitely better. Definitely a lot better than what I've been doing, which is just constantly working and never taking a break and just working way too much. I've been doing that a lot lately, actually. Unfortunately, I don't think it's really shown up all that much. I'm like constantly working, but my channel, I don't know if it's been showing. Perhaps I've been too scattered with the things that I'm doing that it hasn't showed up enough, just how much I'm working. I feel like that because I took the weekend off and didn't do anything, I don't know, I feel like I haven't gotten anything done, I guess. But I know that's not true because I've worked so much lately. So just I know it can't be true that I haven't done anything. Now I'm trying to make some ruffles for this top here. And there's a lot of little detail. It's kind of tough. But I don't know how it's my lens is zoomed in all the way at this point, but is the picture too dark? You guys could let me know if the picture is too dark, I can brighten it up a little bit. So just let me know. It's hard to tell because I'm surrounded by lights. Everything's really bright for me. Oh, greetings, Coffee Cat. It's nice to see you in the chats again. And I agree. It's definitely good to take a break. And that's definitely what I did this weekend. It was a good break. And then, before I knew it, it was Monday again, and it was time to work. So let me bring you up to speed, because I haven't mentioned what I'm drawing. Haven't talked too much about it since the very beginning, and since I've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. Let me talk about this drawing for a bit. So, for the longest time, I've wanted to make an anime coloring book that didn't have cheesy, lame drawings in it. And I've been meaning to do a Kickstarter for this project in particular, though I'm very, very far behind. I had started this project about 6 months ago or so. Kind of the rough idea. I started drawing all of the drawings that would show up in the coloring book. This is the first page of the coloring book. And I did all the drawings first digitally. So I have this drawing completely sketched out as a digital piece. And I want to transfer it over to traditional because that's the kind of way that I want this work presented. Oh, thank you, Olivia. Dzień dobry. But anyways, so that's the idea behind this piece, is that I intend to create a coloring book, and I have 7 other drawings other than this one that I started and have sketched out. And basically, I was going to keep the project a secret, and I did for a very, very long time. Obviously, 6 months. However, I wasn't getting anywhere with the project, and because of the very large time constraint that everything else on my channel has been giving me, I decided to just go ahead and start drawing these during the drawing journal. I figured, what harm is it to start bringing this idea out and letting people know about it. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Really, the only people that knew about this idea was my sister, Christine, my fiance, and myself. That was pretty much it. And I still have a ton of work to do with it, and I'm really not sure what I'm going to do at the end, because I don't know if I'm going to do a Kickstarter with this project and finally kind of get everything prepared, because I wanted to do a physical book. Good morning, Jesse. Thanks for coming by the live stream. Uh, but I really want to do a physical book of all the line art so that it could be colored traditionally. I didn't want to just offer it as a digital download because not everybody has access to a printer that would print on paper worth coloring on. I wanted to have the coloring book made with paper that is archivable and can be colored on by multiple mediums. So I'd really want to have it printed on like a Bristol smooth paper because that would kind of give you the best of both worlds. You could have markers, you could have colored pencils, you could even have, maybe not heavy paint, maybe acrylic. So this picture doesn't necessarily have. I think you can hear the elevator in the back. Hold on a second. Okay, the elevator is done. I forget what I was talking about. Yeah, so the coloring book, I wanted to have good quality, high quality, that you could tear out the pictures, color it, and it would be nice enough artwork that you could literally hang it up on your wall. And so I have these 8 drawings that are all very detailed. They're all extremely detailed. And that's the whole point. The point is for them to be so detailed that it's hard to color, that it's challenging to color. They're not intended for little kids to, scribble on. I wanted to have an adult coloring book. And that's what all these drawings are going to be. Adult skill coloring book. Something that you can practice with, be challenged by. That's what I wanted. I wanted something that even I would be challenged by. That's what I wanted to draw. I wanted to draw pictures that if I were to color something, I would be challenged by it. And so that's what I did. Came up with 8. I have 8 drawings. Yeah, I agree. You're one of the few people from the Navy that has really ever showed any support for my work, so I really appreciate it. Yeah, I was getting my locks done the other day. Saturday, actually. That's one of the things I did on the over the weekend is I got my locks maintenanced. And I was just chatting with the stylist's boyfriend, just talking about video games, and it reminded me of being in the Navy playing video games all the time, chatting it up with Albie about video games. That used to be pastime, playing video games in the berthing. But yeah, I really appreciate your support, Jesse. It means a lot. I don't have I don't have the other sketches of these on paper yet. I have two other ones that are sketched on paper, but I don't have them right next to me to show you, or I'd show you the sketches of the other ones. But you'll see them soon enough. You'll see them. I'll have them on the drawing journal eventually. I plan on just working on these as much as I can to get them done. I would like to. I'd really like to have all of it done by like summer. Hopefully, I'm hoping that it doesn't take me that terribly long. Oh, thank you so much, Paula. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate that you came over to the live stream to let me know. That's really great. Um, and that brings up. Oh, thanks, Jesse. I appreciate you adding my channel to yours. Um, that's really cool. Anyways, Paula, I just wanted to let you know that if you, I don't know if you're a supporter on Patreon, but on my Patreon page, the changes that I've made is that I will be doing live stream tutorials every week. This week's tutorial is going to be an acrylic landscape, but I'm going to do it here on YouTube for free for everybody to kind of help promote the idea. But it will give you an idea of what to expect on Patreon. And I'll have all the live streams there, with the exception of the drawing journal. The drawing journal will always be free here on YouTube. But so if you're interested, you can jump over to my Patreon page and check out the details of those pledges. Said that since I inspire you, then maybe I can teach you as well. But regardless, I appreciate your support by coming over and watching my videos and stuff like that. It means a lot. All right, let's work on some of this hair a bit more. I'll show you. Let me do a close-up. I don't know how well the light's going to be. Yeah, I can't really do it with light, but here's a little bit of a close-up. Thank you, Paula. I'm not quite sure what your question is, Olivia. I'm not sure I understand what the question is. If it is a question, it has a question mark, so I assume it's a question. Trying to work in some of the details of the hair here. If I get nothing done today, I would like to have at least every detail drawn in with pencil, so that perhaps after the live stream I can just finish the inking of the character. The background doesn't necessarily have to be, fantastically inked. I got that message again. Okay, so the background doesn't have to be like the amazing part of the inking process, but definitely want the character to have all the details and all the attention to the inking. So that's why I'd like to have at least the baseline inking done for this character. I think that would be a really good spot to be in for the first day working on it. So then I might even be able to finish it throughout the week if I just kind of sit down when I'm got some free time and finish it up this week, and then next week for the drawing journal I could do page 2. I could work on page 2. I think that would be really fun. And to get that far along with this process would be fantastic, because I have so many drawings to do. They're all huge too. I mean, I don't know how well you can tell the scale of this drawing, but I mean, here's my hand. I mean, of what I've drawn so far, that's it. So that's how large this drawing is. All of these drawings are really large because I'm just going to put so much detail into it that they have to be big in order to fit that in. I think this paper is 14 by 17. So that's the paper size that I'm working on, 14 by 17, just to give you an idea of how large the drawing is. And one of the things that I hadn't mentioned yet, but so like I said, I want to have this as a physical copy coloring book, and what I would do with the artwork or the Kickstarter, I actually already have the Kickstarter set up. I just haven't launched it yet because I don't have the project done. I don't have the drawings done yet, but basically this artwork would be a reward for supporting the Kickstarter. It'd be a pretty large donation for the project, but you would get a copy of the book. It would be a signed copy of the book. You would get like an original, the original drawing, original inked drawing and everything. So there'd be a lot of perks to backing the project if I ever do indeed get the project launched, which I certainly intend to. So just going to take some time. It's fun to be able to share the real process with you, though, because I haven't, like I said, I haven't told anybody about this project other than, my sister and fiance. So it's kind of fun to finally put it out there a little bit and let everybody know what my dreams are. Because this has been something that I've wanted to do for almost 2 years now, and I just never, I don't know, I guess I just never committed to it or had the time to commit to it, because I've been on YouTube for 3 years now, and I haven't even been doing YouTube full time for a year. So I still have a lot of growing to do for my channel, and I didn't think that it was something that I would be able to really incorporate into my channel in a good way. And I never really did it on the drawing journal because I'd be flipping it around and turning it, and I know that can be kind of annoying, or at least it is to me, for the video's sake, but I think for the live stream it's not a bad deal. Just hanging out and drawing, so It's not the worst thing in the world. It's hard to follow my original sketch. I have my original sketch up, but one of the things that's not a sketch is the hair, and so I'm trying to follow what I did previously. It's kind of tough. Kind of tough to follow the original sketch, and I want to because I think it's perfect. I don't want to change it. I spent quite a bit of time doing these sketches, and it was the first time like working with my digital tablet. But surprisingly, they came out pretty well for just being my first attempts at digital sketches. I'm going to be doing a digital piece in a couple weeks, actually. February 7th. So February 7th, I have my first digital time lapse planned. It's a collaboration piece that I'm doing with another artist. Speaking of collaboration, so tomorrow there's a collaboration. If you missed the beginning of the video. So regarding the question, does the book have a specific theme? The theme is advanced anime coloring book. The characters are completely... I've never created this character before. This is just the first... this is just the first page. There's no overall theme, other than the fact that every picture is going to be just ridiculously detailed, and it's all anime style. It's all going to be anime style. And I was talking about this earlier on. This is the first time on my channel that I've drawn like things that I just draw. And what I mean by that is when I was in high school, when I was, still in school, learning to draw and all that fun stuff, this is what I drew. This is my organic style. And I've never shared this kind of stuff on my channel, really. I've done some anime drawings, but I've never really did any that were purely uninfluenced by everything. This is just my most honest style, and just the most revealing kind of my artwork that I've ever done on my channel, because I usually have like all kinds of references, and I'm doing like realism or something like that, and those are always fun. But this is the first time that I've kind of just had something that I created that is just purely my imagination, and it's nice. It's relaxing because I have no pressure whatsoever as in regards to like getting something to look like something specific. This is just me doing what I love to do. And I guess maybe that's the theme. Maybe that's the theme for the book, is that it's just me doing exactly what I want, with no outside influence. Thanks, Coffee Cat. I I'm super excited about it. Like before I went live, and I pulled this drawing out to work on for this live stream. I really I really don't I really didn't have the feelings about it that I do as I'm working on it right now. Um, because I don't know, it was a private idea. The idea that I had about making a book and making a coloring book of this style, of my style. uh, I guess I just didn't know what people would say about it or think about it, because this is just, like I said, I've only ever shared this idea with two other people, and um, both of those people are super biased and as far as supporting me or being supportive. You know, my sister, who's like my biggest fan, and my fiance, who is also my biggest fan. So it was, um, I don't know. I found comfort in knowing that this idea was a secret and nobody knew about it, and so nobody could judge me on it or, you know, remind me of like the like say that it's a bad idea. Nobody could tell me that it was a bad idea because nobody knew about it. But now it's public, and anybody can say whatever they want about it. But I think that regardless, it's going to be fun to work on and complete. It's going to be a big milestone of completion when I finally lay down that last bit of ink on the eighth and final drawing. I had I had kind of this background thought that if I if I did eight drawings and had the coloring book published with eight drawings, then if I did like a Kickstarter, then maybe like as a stretch goal, I could maybe add like one more drawing. Like I could find the time to create one more to put in the book. But I mean, drawing all of the drawings that I did so far, I have eight of them complete. But I don't have any of them complete traditionally. They're all still digital. Um, it was so much to do, and I worked on all of these in the background, on top of all of the work I've been putting in for my channel and things like that, and it's just been quite overwhelming, to just put it simply. Like so much work has already went into these pieces that it's nice to finally get some time to just work on it and just get some more of it done and share the idea. Sorry, I hope that I try to make sure that I have the sound turned off when the elevator starts moving. I apologize that if you hear the sound of the elevator. Excuse me, I'm going to get a bit of water. Thanks, Coffee Cat. I appreciate that. Um, I even if I don't finish this one completely this week, by just trying to work on it as much as I can, because I still have a lot of work for next week to do. But I will try to remember to pull out the other drawings that I have prepared, because I have three sketches done on paper of the 8 digital drawings. So I'll try to remember to have those out and ready to show a bit. I don't even remember which 3 they are, because I don't think I did it page 1, 2, and 3. And actually, one of the drawings is a redrawing. So one of the ideas that I pulled from is an old drawing that I did like 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, it hasn't been that long. Literally 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, that makes me just feel so old. Because it was a drawing that was good enough to redraw for this coloring book. That's scary. But I drew that picture so long ago. I can't believe it. I didn't even realize that till now. So, does anybody have any big projects that they're working on? Talking about my big project, I'm curious about some of your own big projects. What kind of big plans do you have for the new year? I have some hair tutorials that I got planned for next month. I'm going to get into those soon for the Patreon live streams. That will kind of be the first set of tutorials, be coloring hair in colored pencil, most likely. And I'll be doing every hair color. Let's see, I think that I'm just about ready to ink this part of the hair. Actually, I think I can ink the rest of the hair, actually. So let me just do a double check. I think that I am indeed ready. Let me do this side first. I think this side will be much, much easier than that side there. Hopefully I can still hold on some kind of conversation while doing this. So you're working on a colored illustration for your webcomic? That sounds cool. So you have the chapter 1 written out, and so you're going to be working on illustrating it? That's cool. I've always kind of wanted to get into comics, but I felt like one of the things that I always struggled with when I wanted to get into comics or manga back in 2006, 2005 time frame, was that I could never draw the same character twice. I had the worst time trying to redraw my character, like say like in a different pose, or like if his face was turned a different direction, it was just nope, never got good at it. Well, I mean, I can do it now, but just I would practice and practice, and I just could never get good at turning the heads and make redrawing my same characters. It was something that I ended up practicing for a really, really long time, and now I got pretty good at it. I think I can do it now. But yeah, it was a struggle. I actually have a small, very small comic printed out that I did for a project in school. It's about, I don't know, I think it's about 12 pages long or something like that. And it is absolutely horrendously terrible. But unfortunately, I don't have it with me. I think I mentioned this. I mentioned this on Facebook in a comment, but I don't have any of my old artwork with me here in Poland. I only have my recent stuff that I've done. Because when I moved to Poland, I moved here in 2 duffel bags. I brought everything that I possibly could fit into 2 duffel bags, and I have my artwork from the time I was 12 years old. So I have 16 years. I have the past 16 years of artwork in a box at my sister's, and that little comic book thing, I have like 2 printouts of it, and it's there, so I can't show anybody, which I'm kind of glad that I can't show anybody. It's pretty terrible. I didn't write this story. I'll say that. I did not write the story. I did not write the dialogue. I worked on it. We had a partner, and I did the artwork, and he wrote the dialogue / story. And that's that. That was, goodness, that was a fun time. That was a fun time. That was like during the time I was in high school, where it was just, gosh, there's so much art in my life during that time. I drew so much during high school. Like, I drew so much during high school. I'm surprised I didn't end up going to college for art, really. Like, it's kind of funny to think about. Like, I got my degree in math, but I spent all of my time in high school drawing. And the funny thing is, I almost dropped out of high school to work. Like, I barely graduated from high school because I needed, or I thought I needed, to work. And I had a job. I had a good job, actually, before graduating high school and joining the military. I had a union job working at a bakery, a very large bakery that provided all the bread and stuff to like 3 or 4 different states. So it was a good job, definitely a job you could retire from. But goodness, I hated it. And I worked midnights sometimes while in school, which was very painful. Also illegal. Yeah, it was not legal. But they didn't care. And neither did I. But then I joined the military, and all aspirations of being an artist they dissipated. It was tough to be creative in the military. They just kind of destroy any sense of creation, or yeah, that kind of environment is not very inducive of being creative. But I had a couple opportunities to, be artistic in the military. Oh yeah, I could imagine collaborating on a coloring book being pretty difficult. I wouldn't want to do it professionally, probably. There's just too many creative differences. Like, I would literally have to find my twin person in order to collaborate on a project that is such a large scale as a comic book, because the creative differences would be just too painful to work through. And comics are a tough kind of field to get in, and be successful. So uh, there's even if you were able to create a project, it would be tough to bank on the fact that you're going to have any degree of success with it. So having to deal with the complexity of an artistic relationship like that in a collaboration, it'd be kind of tough to tolerate without any guarantee of success. But it was just a high school project. It was an assignment, actually, for our class, and we didn't have to do a comic book. That's just what we decided, because I could draw, and supposedly my partner could tell stories, which ended up not being true at all. Now that I go back and I read the comic book, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, um, which is funny. It's, yeah. Oh my goodness, so much hair. I feel like I'm never going to finish. At least I think if I get this hair done today, then uh, I'll be good. I'll be satisfied with my progress, because there's so much of it, and it's so detailed. It probably doesn't look like much on the screen, but it's so detailed. There's a lot of little strands coming off of it. My hand is getting a bit tired. I want to switch back to my pencil and do some more sketching, light lines, and having a bit more freedom. Sorry, I kind of went a bit silent there. I'm trying to be conscious of having my mouth open. That was the thought that just jumped into my head. Was the thought that your mouth is open, close your mouth, you're drawing and people are watching you. I'm actually kind of surprised with myself, with the with it being so fun doing live streams, because when well, even now, like, it's a bit different, because even now, I don't like people standing next to me when I am sitting, and this doesn't have anything to do. Um, this doesn't have anything to do with being or drawing. It's just when I'm sitting, I don't like people standing next to me or talking to me standing. So they either have to sit down or I have to stand up. I just can't stand it. And I don't, goodness, I can't even tell you how many times I was drawing in high school, and I would be drawing and some creeper would come up and stand next to me and to watch me draw. And I understand, like, you know, you want to watch somebody draw and do things, but I couldn't take it. Anytime somebody would come up and stand next to me to watch me draw, I would immediately just stop drawing. And then, of course, they'd say the typical things like, "Oh, that's really good." I most of the time I wouldn't say anything. Like, I don't know. I had really poor social skills. I still do, actually, which is part of the reason I started a YouTube channel in the first place. Since my social skills in real life are so terrible, I thought I'd give it a shot online. And here I am, online. But it was never really the fact that, you know, people watching me draw made me uncomfortable. Although I thought for sure I would have that problem doing live streams. I thought for sure it'd be like, I don't know if I can sit here and draw, just like let people watch me do it. When I'm doing time lapses, that's totally different because, like, I know nobody's watching me in the moment as I'm sitting there, like, making a whole bunch of mistakes and trying to figure out what to do and struggling, and like that. I guess that's the biggest falsehood about doing the time lapses is like I have struggles. Like I sit here and like try to figure out what I'm gonna do and like how am I gonna draw that, and it doesn't look right. Like sometimes I'll sit here and working on a time lapse or something, and I'll be looking at the drawing and be like, gosh, it looks like crap. I hate it. I don't want to draw it anymore. I just want to quit. That's the truth. Is that I still have those same feelings that many of us have. But goodness, when I'm doing it live, what option do I have? I'll just tell you if I can't figure it out. Guess. Yeah, I love long hair. I honestly, I was wondering if this hair wasn't long enough when I originally designed the character. I just love long hair. That's my favorite thing in the world, and that's what makes anime so fun to draw. Is you have this style that you can just create all kinds of crazy weird stuff and just extravagant, super exaggerated hairstyles, and it's what kind of drew me to it in the first place in the very beginning. And I love the hair aspect of anime. And so when I do my hairstyles, I like to make them long and crazy and just insanely exaggerated and impossible. Just a completely impossible hairstyle. That's what I try to do. But yeah, definitely long hairs. Love long hairs. Yay, I get to erase some pencil. Oh, I'm excited. Clean up some of these lines so you should be able to get a bit clearer image of what's going on here. Get rid of some of the pencil lines, and this is an exciting moment. This is the moment you get to see just how bad the inked lines are before moving on. Because like I said, this is just the first initial inking, and as careful as I am with these lines don't really matter all that much. It's really about getting rid of the pencil. It's really the idea for this first initial inking is to just replace the graphite with ink. And then the real magic comes after this. Like once you have all the initial inking complete, then the fun begins. It's what separates the people that are good at inking from the people that aren't good at inking, or just mediocre at inking. See, a lot of people stop at this. Like they'll do this initial inking and then maybe they'll add like a thicker outline to like the silhouette of the image. But I promise you, it's not. It is not what makes inking good. Doing the simple things like that. No. It takes a lot more. And that's the part that I love about inking, is that extra attention to detail. Yeah, so hopefully you get a little bit clearer idea what this character looks like. Sorry, I can't. All the light, like as it gets darker, it's because I have the lights at a certain level, so I'm pulling it out of the light. But yeah, that's kind of the closest I can get it. Here, I'll zoom in a bit. Zoom in and then so there you have some of the detail. Hopefully that's showing up a little bit. That's just some of the detail. That's just the hairs. I have this whole thing to do. It's exciting. I haven't been this excited to draw in quite some time. I love the way this looks. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to work on is her dress, which there is just a ton of stuff going on here in the dress. So let's just get this started right away. I'm gonna be turning this thing around quite a bit to kind of get these lines the way that I want. And then so what's going on with the dress here is it kind of comes down like this. There's like this gap, and then there's lines, there's string, lace, or whatever you want to call it, holding it all together. It's kind of wider at the top a little bit. And then it has kind of an extra thread here along the side. Let me get this bottom part first. I want to make sure I have this drawn correctly in comparison to my original sketch. It's funny redrawing something that I already drew, and it's just it's a unique feeling, I guess, because I'm following. Is it still considered following a reference photo if you're just looking at your own drawing? I don't know. It's not really a reference photo, is it? I don't know if I like that, actually. It's a bit too wrinkled, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna continue anyway. I'm I'm going to continue. I'm going to do this side and see where it goes. I think it will be okay. I think it will be okay like this. And then down here, there's extra thread going over, and then over here. So there's that. Now, the next thing that I have, and this is kind of, I don't know, like drawing laces is kind of hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map it out with these circles, make sure I have the correct distance, because that's the hardest part, in my opinion. And the way I like to do it, I like to have this line here, this line here, and it needs to match this dot here. So kind of like that. I have kind of sketches down of the lines here, but they don't seem to be matching as well as I want them to be. So I'm going to draw this first initial one, and it kind of comes out wider because these are kind of thick laces, so they kind of go like this and widen up. Not that, I don't know how well you can see it, but and this bottom lace comes over to this hole. So there's this thread here, that part of the lace there, and then another part going here. This is like where a pile up of detail comes, and it's kind of hard to do. There's another. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on the original sketch I have 8, but I don't see. This is tough, because this one is coming here, but that can't be right. That's got to be moved somewhere else. So put a dot there and a dot there, and we'll see if that lines up, because this one will be on top here. That, and at least draw that in, and then this one has to come over like this. That looks right so far. And now the next dot has got to be over here. This looks really long. This looks super long, which is not the way it appears as though it should be. I'm gonna redo this. No, let me see. I'm gonna draw this one out, and we'll see what it looks like. Because it doesn't look, perspectively, it is warping in a way that is not working. Well, maybe if I think maybe I can work it in correctly if I just reevaluate where I have that. And this is the step that I was really hoping to avoid when it came to redrawing this. I was really hoping to be able to avoid these the necessity of kind of having to guess and check where things are supposed to be. And as you can see, it did not work out as well as planned. I don't necessarily like the way I have it on the original drawing, so I want to make it look exactly the way I want it. This one is matched there, this one's matched there, this one should be about here. There. I think I'm going to skip one, so here and then here. This is a lot. This is much more difficult than I anticipated. That needs to be lined up there. I think this line, these need to be a bit straighter. A bit too much curve going on here. Too curved. There we go. I think that's better. Which means this one is going to go about there. And then from here to here, kind of like that. There. I think that's good. I think we figured it out. Look at that. Problem solved. Problem solved. That's much better looking than the original sketch also. So this one has to come down a bit like that, and then from here, this dot, so this one's going to be about here, like that. Let's see. Yeah, patience. I would say that patience is probably the difference between a good artist and a great artist. Patience. I did a video like last year sometime, like 5 things to improve your artwork, and patience was I think it was number 1. The number 1 way to improve your artwork is patience. Because anybody that has worked on like a large project that required a lot of patience, they can point out, they can go back and point out in their artwork where they lost patience, and it's where the artwork disappoints them the most. I'm having so much fun with this. I'm really not even thinking about patience, but I don't intend to lose it. That's why I took the time to correct those laces. I wanted them to be perfect. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Now I'm just finishing off the string here down at the bottom. Just like that. And you know what? I think I'm going to add just the tiniest detail at the tip of it. It's not in the original, but why not? You know, why not add more detail? That's exactly what I want, is more detail. Other than wrinkles, there's not too much that I need to add. Oh, I see. Okay, yes. So there is a bit of this going on here. There's like a kind of a, I don't even know what, tubing, I guess. It sounds weird, but it's kind of like a decorative thing that's going up. Now let's do a bit of this here and this here. That. And then, actually I'm going to leave that. I'm going to ink that part. I think I'm good here. There is a line here that I can safely do. There is a line here necessary. Make sure I get the outer edge completely correct before inking it. This smooth contour here I think is good, and then just a bit of detail there. So now what I'm going to do is ink that section. And what, 2.5 hours? So I've been live streaming for 2.5 hours now. Not too bad. I feel like I could go all day at the rate that I'm going. I'm having a ton of fun with this drawing. Just so much fun with it. Is there anybody working on anything right now? Is there anybody drawing or painting or anything during the live stream? That would be pretty cool if you were. I'm just saying. Wait, what is going on here? What is going on? Okay. Oh, okay. I see what I did. I know where I messed up. Good. I'm glad I caught that before I touched ink to it. My goodness, that would have been a terrible tragedy. That is above. Okay, I think we're good for sure now. That was too close. Coffee Cat, you are you working on that illustrations? Are you working on the comic illustrations? Oh, here's a question that I have for everybody. Who in the live stream completed a color chart? Oh, I'm glad you like to listen to me while you're drawing. That's cool. That's cool to hear. You're drawing an elk in a thicket. Interesting. I've never drawn an elk before. You just woke up, saw this stream was on YouTube suggestions, thought I'd check it out since I enjoyed your Oogie. Well, thanks. I'm glad that you liked my Oogie review. I actually did the initial sketch for this drawing on the Oogie, and if you might even recognize it because this is the digital drawing that I was doing on the Oogie review. Okay, so you did a coloring chart. Now, let me, I'll show you mine. Let me pull it down off the wall. If I can, it's all taped up. Come here. Okay. All right. So here is my color chart. Check that out. Okay, so this is for the Liquitex Basic 48 paint set that I worked on and barely got anything done in last week's drawing journal. The first 4 rows up here is the 48 colors as they come out of the tube, which I think I got somewhere around the 3rd row or something like that. I know I didn't finish all 48, which is kind of sad to think about. But the next 4 rows is the same as the first 4 rows, except 50% white is mixed in. Actually, no, I remember working on some of these. So I did get somewhere around here or something like that. Because I remember talking about how cool the flesh tones were. Some of these flesh tones are really, really nice. And then the bottom 4 is the same as the top 4, but with 50% black. And I don't know how well you can see the color on the camera. They seem a bit dark to me. Let me see if I can brighten it a little bit. Yeah, so there's that a bit brighter. So some of these colors are really, really great. Too dark there. But this took so much time, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. As you can see, I peeled off all the tape, so I got really nice squares. But this is just going to be just a super helpful chart, and I highly recommend that if you have a medium that you're working in that you haven't done a color chart, you got to do it. It's boring as can be. I promise you, it's the most boring thing you're ever going to do. But goodness, the helpfulness of the chart totally outweighs the boringness of the creation. The creation of the chart. But yeah, that's my chart, and I'm super proud of it because it's awesome. Yeah, you have the benefit of not having to do a color chart digitally, but because you can just go back and change the colors all you want. Control U or Command U. Yeah, I do that in Photoshop all the time. I almost, when I color things in Photoshop, I almost don't even pay attention to the color that I use because I usually just tweak it with the hue saturation anyway. So I just pick whatever color's kind of close and then hue saturate it to get the exact color I want. But yeah, I was I worked on that a lot. I like pretty much when I wasn't like doing a recording or something like that, I was finishing that chart. My fiance was complaining, like telling me that it took way too long, and it was funny. But yeah, that definitely took way too long. But I took my time with it, and it's been a long time since I got to paint. I haven't painted in a very long time. I can't even remember. That's how long it's been. But goodness, it's going to be super helpful to have that chart painting again. And I will be doing my first painting. I just realized this. I'm going to be doing my first painting that I've done in like a year on Wednesday as a live stream. I don't know what possesses me to think that's a good idea, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it a landscape, which is also something I've never painted. I've never painted a landscape, and I'm about to do a live stream tutorial of painting a landscape. And this is my life. I think I need to reevaluate my choices. But I'm excited to paint again. Oh goodness, I'm really excited. And I'm going to share a bit of my technique, my painting technique that nobody else does. I've never come across any other person that does it. Yeah, I'm going to be the new Bob Ross doing, it's funny that you bring that up because I was actually considering, not strongly, just I have to say that I wasn't strongly considering it, but it was a thought that had crossed my mind about doing kind of Bob Ross style videos where I do an acrylic painting. I would do acrylic, but I would kind of paint the same themes that he would do, and then try to record it like his original videos. And I would just start at season 1, episode 1, and whatever he painted, I would kind of replicate it in acrylics. But it was just a thought. It was just a thought. So don't get too excited about the idea. But I will do acrylic painting tutorials as a live stream on a regular basis. I'm guessing that somewhere along once a month, or maybe even twice a month. It just depends. I'll have to buy more canvas for sure. But for the Patreon live streams, I would really like to do a few more acrylic painting tutorials. I think it would be a lot of fun, and I think a lot of people would be interested in learning painting with acrylics. I even have a challenge in mind for painting. I'll be doing a 10-minute challenge, a 10-minute painting challenge with Lockery and Ryan O'Rourke and Sheldon Fine Art in the month of February. We're all doing a painting challenge again. And this time I get to paint instead of using markers like a crazy person. Okay, so you decided to wait for the monitor. That's probably a good idea. Newer technology, maybe. I haven't heard of that monitor before, but like I said in the review, I got my Oogie for free, so I wasn't gonna say no to a free tablet. Like, even if I hated it, I still got it for free. But I love it. Yeah, I love my drawing tablet. I love it even more because I got it for free, which uh, is just fantastic. That was a really cool moment for me as well, because as a full-time YouTuber, like, when you start your channel and you watch those YouTubers that get a bunch of free stuff, like, in the mail, like, all the time, stuff they don't even ask for, like, they just get crap sent to them constantly. And they don't even have to do like a review or anything like that. They just get it sent to them by a company that hopes they like it enough to feature it in a video. Like, that's it. Like, how rad is that? So when I got the opportunity to get a free drawing monitor, something I've been wanting for like my whole gosh darn life, it was pretty sweet to get one for free just because I have a YouTube channel. And for it to work as well as it does is even cooler. So that was definitely a cool moment for me in my YouTube career. And a lot of people responded quite positive to my review of that tablet, which I was excited about because, like I said, I don't get a lot of opportunity to do reviews of products, especially ones I get for free. But I am genuinely honest with the things that I say on my channel, and like I told the people at Oogie, I was like, look, I'm gonna be honest. Before they even gave me the tablet, like I told them, I was like, I'm gonna be honest about my review. So if you're sending me garbage, people are going to know about it. They are going to hear it from me. And I did come across. I watched reviews of the tablet, and generally the response was quite positive from all the people that had the tablet. So it boosted my confidence in the company. And then there's this one guy that apparently hates it for no other reason than the people that mailed it to him or something like that. I don't know. His perspective is just negative and unclear, so I don't really pay much attention to him. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to do some erasing now. Get rid of a few of these excess lines. And then I got to add some details. More details. There. I can see a bit better. So I need to add like the little eyelets for these laces. And I just am freehanding them because that's the kind of confidence I have, and I just messed up. It's not that big of a deal. You can't really see this tiny detail anyway. It's just not as round as I'd hoped. But the next thing is to add a bit of the kind of stress wrinkles in the cloth. And I'm just going to kind of freehand them a little bit based on my original sketch. But that's cool to see somebody in the live chat that came to my channel from the Oogie review. That's awesome. Like I see that like 10,000 people have watched it. It's one of my most popular videos. But to know that you enjoyed my review so much that you subscribed to my channel, and now we're chatting in the live stream. That's a cool feeling. Yeah, I think that you're right about it being that Aaron Rutten guy. Yeah, he seemed to be a Wacom fanboy, and it's like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm a fan of things that are free and work well. So no bias here. All right, I don't like the repetitiveness of some of these creases, so I'm gonna work in a bit of variety there. I think that's good. I think that's pretty good there. The next layer that I'm going to be working on is this little, I don't even know what you call this, little flappy thing. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to work on this little flappy thing. And kind of just make it smoother looking than the original sketch. That's an important quality to have, is nice smooth lines. Nobody likes jaggedness. It's all about the smoothness. This drawing is coming to life. It's such a good feeling. So hopefully if you're in the live chat, you can tell me if it was you. But there was somebody talking about like reading a story or something like that. Because over the past month, the amount of people that have given me compliments on my voice in the way that it sounds, like the soothingness of it. Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh, because for me that's just the weirdest thing in the world to hear, because I never got such a compliment in my life. And I swear, like, on a daily basis, I'm getting compliments on it. And somebody was talking about like maybe reading an audiobook or something along those lines. Not reading an audiobook, that makes no sense, but like making an audiobook of something. And if you're in the live chat right now, let me know if that was you, because I want to give you credit for the idea. So next Tuesday, I am going to have my cyborg project done. Actually, I'm going to reach over and grab it real quick. So I worked on it this morning before the live chat, before the live stream, I mean, and I have it here. So here's my cyborg project come into life. So as you can see, I did the wires and the piping and the things and such. So this is the sorry, it's so dark. Let me fix that really quick. Yeah. So this project is going to be complete this week, and the video is going to be next Tuesday for that. Okay, so it was you, Anne, that did it? Okay. So this is what I'm going to do for that project when I finish drawing it, and for the video. So the video is going to be just like a boring time lapse, which it's going to be like the regular straight down time lapse and no fancy shooting like I have done in the past. I just haven't had any time to do that. But I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be writing a short story. And I'm going to read the short story while the time lapse is going. But I'm going to incorporate some uniqueness to it to kind of make the story come to life a little bit. But I haven't written the story yet, and I hope to be able to do it this week. I am only going to need, like, I don't know, maybe a 4-minute, 5-minute long video, or a story. So I'm guessing somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 words. But I've been just going through my mind of, yes, Jesse, that specific piece is influenced greatly by the laughing man from season 1 of Ghost in the Shell. So that's kind of the plan for that time lapse, to kind of incorporate that storytelling idea that you came up with. And I think that it could be good. I think that it could be a good direction to kind of go with some of my videos. Not all of them, but definitely some of them. And I look forward to it. I look forward to writing the story just as much as I look forward to telling it, because I've had so many compliments recently about how enjoyable it is to listen to my voice. So thank you, Anne, for that inspiration to do a story thingy like that. I'm very excited about it, and I hope that I can tell a story that is as interesting as that piece is to me, because that piece there is is a fun original idea. Inspired by one of my favorite animes of all time. And so I'm excited to kind of write a story of the meaning behind the piece. Not necessarily the meaning, but just the story of that sets the scene for that piece. And yeah, the story itself is going to be influenced by Ghost in the Shell and kind of the metaphysics, I guess, of what Ghost in the Shell means and kind of the philosophical meaning of the story behind Ghost in the Shell. And if you're not familiar with the anime Ghost in the Shell, then I definitely recommend checking it out because it's awesome. It's very thought-provoking, and the animation it was definitely before its time when it did come out. I have a terrifying stare. Well, at least I have a soothing voice to kind of, make the threat a little less funny. Anna, did you talk on one of your videos on your YouTube channel? Because I'm I'm thinking that like, I went and watched a few of your videos recently, and but I watched so many videos. I can't remember if it was you or somebody else that was talking in the video. Um, but if you say that you did talk in your video, then I most likely heard you talking. Um, and whoever it was that I did go watch, and they said that their English is bad or whatever. Um, uh, they sounded great. Okay, so if you did talk and wanted to, I'm probably referring to your video in which your English was perfectly fine and you shouldn't be so self-conscious about it. That is a very common thing that non-native English speakers say. They they always feel so self-conscious about their English because they know that it's not their first language and they don't quite feel as confident speaking that language. Um, but you sounded great in your video, and especially if you were to write a story, um, I imagine that reading it and recording your voice would be a bit easier. It would come a bit faster reading it. So I imagine that it would do great, and your accent is nice. It's interesting to listen to, which just adds more atmosphere to whatever story you end up writing or telling. So no need to no need to be shy. Because my fiance, she says it all the time. Uh, like I would say on a daily basis, she complains that her English is bad, and uh, sometimes she'll say like the wrong tense of a verb or something, and she'll be like, "What is this language I'm speaking?" And she'll just like freak out on herself. Kohanya, calm down. Your English is fantastic. You're way too hard on yourself. And especially from the perspective of a U.S. native English speaker, um, people from the U.S., I would say close to 90% of them are infatuated with other people's accents from around the world. So goodness, use it to your benefit that you have that to a native English speaker. You have the accent that you do, even the somewhat broken English that you might think that you have, which I don't think that you do. I think your English is great. So it's yeah, native English speakers, as long as they can understand you, they tend to enjoy it. Yeah, I agree. My fiance, I still watch the video. I love her accent. I love her English, and sometimes, uh, sometimes she'll ask me like to correct it or to help her with her pronunciation or something like that, and I tell her no. I'm like, no, I'm not going to help you. I don't want you to speak better English. I want you to stay exactly the way you are with your English because it's adorable. And yeah, it kind of drives her crazy, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I think her English is just fine the way it is. Finnish accent is not one famous about being beautiful. Um, it well, it's not famous at all. I don't think that I could go to any of my American friends and be like, "Hey, what does a Finnish accent sound like?" They'd be like, "Finnish? Where's that even from?" Um, so uh, you can be on the forefront of making the Finnish English accent famous and known for its elegant beauty. So don't hold back. Just go for it. I think that after I finish live streaming, if I ever do finish, so it's been like 3 hours or something, I'm gonna go back to your video that you talk. And in fact, if you're watching this now, jump over to Anna's video and go check out her accent and give her some positive feedback in the comments. She's a fantastic artist, so you should already be going to her channel anyway. But yes, I think that I hear it a lot. You know, people being timid about their English and their accent and whatnot, but nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. I don't think the only kind of accent that I kind of can't stand is any accent where they talk too fast. They talk too fast in English with an accent. Those two things combined. Um, I'm not a huge fan of the British accent either. So that's one thing. I don't know too many people that are actually. I don't even think they like their accent. It's a joke. Calm down, everybody. I'm joking. But I can't watch movies with people that have British accents. I can't do it. This is just one thing I can't do. Everybody in Polish, everybody in Poland wants to learn English, but they don't want to learn the English that they're taught in school, which is the British English, not the American English. Everybody wants to speak American English, not British English in Poland. That's the consensus that I've come across so far. Touch up texture. Touch up texture. Hmm. No, it's not a phrase I have difficulty saying. Uh, but I can imagine that there is some Polish tongue twisters that I don't think there's a language in the world that can compare to the tongue twisters in Polish. Maybe German, but oh my goodness. I tried saying I can't even say one word of the tongue twister. It's so hard. Um, but yeah, I need to practice my Polish. I'm getting no, I'd be lying to say I'm getting better every day because yeah, that's an absolute lie. But I get better every week or so, something like that. I learned my lesson. I have my water sitting here. Made sure it was there. Ah, that's funny. To have to have the least amount of accent in the area that you live. I so since the United States is so huge, um there's quite a bit of accents that you come across within the United States itself, and apparently I I was lucky enough to be born in the place that uh, has the highest approval rating for the accent, for the English accent. Um, which I was born in I was born in Michigan, but I grew up in Ohio, and Ohio is one of those states that um, you come across the accent that is the preferred accent, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how true that is, um, but apparently it's pretty true considering how many people um, compliment me on my voice. But yeah, uh, there's I can't really think of an accent. No, I can. So the girls out west, they have they have a particular accent. Sorry, I'm playing with my piece of paper and not even drawing while I'm talking about this because I have glue up here. Um, so they have this accent where they have this really weird drawl. I forget what they call it. It's almost like a growl almost that they do with their throat. It's so weird. A Finnish tongue twister. Coco 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 coco. That is a whole conversation about bonfire. That is a really weird tongue twister. The that looks like it could almost be a Polish tongue twister as well. I came across one um, that was similar to that. I'll have to I'll have to have my fiance find that page that we were looking at full of Polish tongue twisters, and I'll just make a video attempting tongue twisters. When I first started uh, listening to Polish, um, Scottish and Irish, Irish, then Irish, Irish. Why does that sound weird to me? uh, yeah, I like those accents too. I have to agree. I like those accents. But when I first started listening to Polish, gosh, it just sounded so weird because it was a language that I'd never really heard until I was with my fiance. Um, and like when we started kind of dating, I guess it would be maybe a little bit before we started dating, but just kind of talking and getting to know each other. 3 years ago, by the way. Um, I when I found out that she spoke Polish or that she was Polish, I looked online to figure out what a Polish accent sounded like because, oh, sorry about that. Um, uh, so when I found out she didn't speak English as her first language because all of our messages were typed, and her English seemed perfectly fine typed. So I knew she lived in Poland, but I didn't even consider the fact that English wasn't her first language because her written English was so good. And so it was just like, when I found out, I was like, oh, what does a Polish accent sound like? And I went all over YouTube and I couldn't really find any. And the ones that I did find were guys. And to be honest with you, guys' Polish accent versus girls' Polish accent doesn't even compare. I swear, it doesn't even sound like the same nationality. Like, not even close. Um, do I speak Polish? Okay, so I lived in Poland. I've lived in Poland not nonstop for almost a year now. So I was gone for a couple months in the summer, and then, but other than that, in a couple months I would have lived in Poland for a year. I do not speak very much Polish at all. Um, and that's because I don't get out a lot. Not only do I not get out a lot to open up the opportunity to speak Polish, but I don't have any friends in Poland that are native speakers other than my fiance. And because I'm working all the time, like it's really hard to like get it in there. Thanks for letting me know the overlay thing. I have a little monitor at the top now, so every time it pops up, I see it. But thanks for letting me know. Yeah, everyone in the chat has their own accent. That's cool. But I want to try to get some free time more often and practice my Polish. I really want to learn the language. It's incredibly difficult to learn because there's so many weirdness going on just in the language that, and it's so different from English that I don't even know where to begin. But I am going, well, like my plan to start learning. Um, my plan to kind of start learning Polish is to start listening to audio while I'm drawing, and practice that way because then I can work and learn Polish at the same time, and I think that's going to be the best bet. My fiance has a bunch of post-its posted all around the flat with like words on it that tell me what things are. But even those, like, I have a hard time incorporating into my daily life, as far as like memorizing them. I see them all the time, and I know some words. Like I probably have like a whole entire 50-word vocabulary at this point. Pretty awful to have lived here for as long as I have, and have basically essentially no Polish whatsoever. Um, the only the only good thing I have going for my Polish is that I have a really decent accent. So what the words that I do know in Polish, I tend to I tend to say it with such a good Polish accent that it sounds Polish, sounds native Polish. So, in fact, yesterday my fiance had to embarrass me in front of her mom by making me say random words, and because I was making us sandwiches and she was making me say what I was putting on the sandwich, and she made me say it to her mom yesterday when we were playing cards. And it was embarrassing, but at the very least, she complimented my accent. And the so we don't have TV, and we're never going to have TV. So, but to answer your question, no, they don't sub their movies and TV shows into English. The English movies that they bring here, they sub into Polish from what I think, except for the Polish movies that are made here in Poland. But there's not very many movies made here in Poland. Movies don't seem to be too popular here. But gosh, I had a thought, but I forgot because I started reading comments. What was I gonna say? Yes. So she was having me say the words that she had taught me to her mom, which was like tomato and cucumber, and it's just a knife. And I should do better. I really should, and I hope to soon. Once I kind of get things settled with my big changes here on YouTube, then yeah. Yeah, I agree. The fastest way is probably to start talking to people using some of these smaller phrases that you learn, and things like that. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely good that she makes me talk a bit, but she doesn't do it enough. And one of the things that I have developed, though I can't speak the language, I have developed a really good listening comprehension, which I think is really, really important when learning the language. The Coffee Cat, I don't know how well your Japanese is, but I had studied Japanese for like 3 years in college, and when I finished the intro to Japanese courses, I was pretty good at conversational Japanese, and I had a couple friends that spoke Japanese, and I would occasionally speak Japanese with them, but I haven't spoken it in 2 years or something like that. So it's not too good. My vocabulary has greatly diminished. But one of the things that I always struggled with a lot when learning Japanese and speaking Japanese was that I had no listening comprehension because I never got the chance to be immersed in the language in regards to hearing it on a daily basis. Whereas now, there's days like actually no, I can't. There's never a day that I don't hear Polish, so I've gotten acquainted with the sounds. And for me, when I was learning Japanese, and not having any listening comprehension, even though I had a pretty decent vocabulary of maybe know, 5,000 words or something like that. Um, I couldn't really hold a real conversation because my listening comprehension was so bad. But it got to the point where it had gotten better because I started watching just a ton of Japanese TV. In fact, I spent like an entire year only watching Japanese TV, which is the best TV, by the way. If you're going to watch TV, watch Japanese TV. But yeah, so my Polish listening comprehension is pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, I can sit there and listen to Anna and her mom carry on a conversation, and as long as I know the context of the conversation, like if they were talking in the kitchen right now and I walked in and I had no idea what they were talking about, then I'd pretty much be lost 100%. But if I understood the context, then I would be able to understand what they're saying to a marginal degree, like somewhere upwards to 60 to 70%. So, yeah. I think because I learned Japanese, the pronunciation in Polish words is kind of easy. And sometimes it's funny because sometimes Anna tells me that my my Polish pronunciation sounds Japanese because I still have like, since Japanese was the second language that I learned, it I kind of only have that other language as reference when learning a third language. So, um, yeah, I could imagine like moving to Japan and having that struggle of trying to learn in the actual environment. Because I mean, I moved to Poland without any real uh, understanding of Polish language. In fact, I still really have very minimal understanding of the language, and so I can only imagine, like I can relate to like moving to Japan and barely speaking it and whatnot. I Before I came to Poland, because before I graduated college, I had already planned to move to Poland to be with my fiance, um, my then girlfriend. She was my girlfriend at the time, but I I decided to take Polish one as like the last quarter that I was in college, and it was just, gosh, it was just terrible. I I was too busy with other classes to really focus on it, but I was not learning very well in the class because it was just not it was not a class that I was very good at, that was set up very good for learning a language, and everybody in the class already spoke Russian, and a lot of Polish words and Russian words are the same, and you have the same grammar structure. Russian is very similar to Polish. I mean, they're both Slavic languages, so you can just imagine how close they are in similarities. And so it was it was a bit unfair to those people that didn't have that Russian experience, and there was only 3 of us that didn't have Russian as a background. So the teacher moved way too fast because she moved at the pace that the Russian speakers could move at, because they basically already knew Polish and they were just taking the class for the credit or whatever. And yeah, it was unfortunate. I ended up learning absolutely nothing in the class. After about halfway through the quarter, I checked out of the class. I didn't pay attention. I didn't do anything but the homework and take the tests. And for the homework, all the answers were in the back of the book, so I just copied them down. And I didn't have any time anyway because I was a full-time math student, and full-time math students don't have time for other classes. I kind of don't like the way that looks. Let's see here. But yeah, I would have liked to had a bit better Polish learning experience in that class, and it was a big disappointment because I was really hoping to make something of the class. Coffee Cat, did you happen to see the video that I made of moving to Poland? I only have 3 videos that are related to my relationship. I have the video of meeting my girlfriend for the first time. I have the video moving to Poland, and then I have the video proposing to my girlfriend. But yeah, those were really fun videos to make and to go back and have as a record. You know, how many people Alex, I think you're asking Coffee Cat, how's the temperature or how's the weather? Oh, tenki desu ka? And Coffee Cat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. My kanji is a bit rusty, but I think that's a tenki desu ka. It's been a long time since I've uh, read any Japanese. I always love it when I see Japanese and I can read it and like tell my friends like, "Hey, that says this," or "Oh, genki desu ka?" Yes, I see. I told you, "Oh, genki desu ka? How are you?" I knew it was. I knew it was close. I knew it was close. I love all the languages that we have in the chats right now. It's how many? Okay, let's see. Uh, yeah, kanji are hard, but I always loved writing kanji. I always loved writing kanji. Let's see how many languages that we have on the live stream right now. So English, obviously, Japanese, Finnish. Coffee Cat, you speak German. Spanish. We have Spanish. Um, Okay, so Finnish, Spanish, Alex, I think you might be missing a particle. 5 Indian languages. That's a good one. I speak 2 languages fluently. I speak English and sarcasm. Oh, I forgot one. I forgot details. I forgot details. Gotta add details. English. Okay, so we have English, Spanish, 5 Indian languages. Japanese, Finnish, German. Yes. I rarely come across somebody that is as fluent in sarcasm as I am. It can be a complicated language. Oftentimes I Oftentimes I forget that I'm speaking in sarcasm when I intend to speak in regular English. And so it messes with people, and sometimes they get angry at me. That was always something that I had a difficult time with Japanese, is because sometimes when I was talking to my friend in Japanese, I would answer sarcastically, but of course in Japanese everything's taken literally, so it didn't make any sense. And sometimes my reaction would be to say things in sarcastically, but I'd have to stop because it didn't make any sense. I had sarcasm withdrawal when speaking Japanese. Is there any other? That brings up a question. So we have a whole bunch of languages in the chat right now. Is there any other languages that you guys are aware of that sarcasm just doesn't work in that language? Like, what about Finnish? Is Finnish a language that doesn't have sarcasm? Oh goodness, would you see? Would you look at how far along I've gotten this drawing? It's hard to believe I got this far. It's starting to come to life. I'm adding ink. Okay, that's good. Maybe I'll learn Finnish next, since you guys have sarcasm. I'm gonna ask my fiance when she gets home if Polish has sarcasm. Your future mother-in-law. Hopefully she's not in the live stream, Anne, or you're gonna be paying for that comment. Vulcan? Yeah, you would say that, you big nerd. This is a fun conversation. Changing directions now with the conversation. Um, how many has seen a good movie lately? I haven't seen a good movie. I need some recommendations. So let me know if you've seen something good recently. And don't say Moonlight. Don't say Moonlight. 'Cause that was a weird movie. So if you're gonna say Moonlight, just don't. Yeah, I enjoy chatting with as many people as I can in different languages. Yeah, I use Google Translate. Sometimes I'll get comments that are in different languages, and it's like, man, I wish I spoke every language on the world. I wish I could be like Google. Hi boy. Hi boy. I haven't heard of that movie. Is that a Finnish movie? I'm kidding. I don't get I don't get a lot of notification as far as the movies that are coming out and whatnot because um, like I said, I don't watch TV and I don't do a lot of looking for that kind of stuff. But I could go for a good movie. I haven't watched a good movie in a while. Trying to think of the last good movie that I watched, and I can't think of one. I might actually finish. I just realized that I might actually finish the inking for this character. Can anybody? Okay, so it's 16:30 right now. So Collateral Beauty. That's the new Will Smith movie, isn't it? I think I did. I think I saw that in like the trending tab on YouTube. Um, so interesting. iBoy sounds very unique. And I totally forget. So I think what I was saying was that my fiance is going to be home soon. And of course, I don't like to work when she's home because I already have to spend the whole day away from her. But I am almost finished inking this character. So I think I'm going to finish up this little frill here at the bottom because she's probably going to be walking in the door any moment and she'll be making some noise doing that. So I'm going to try to finish up this little frill, and I think that's about it. So this has been like the coolest live stream ever because all of you amazing people in the live stream watching, just hanging out and chatting about random stuff that random people chat about, I guess. This has been a super fun project to work on. I'm so glad I got a chance to share it with everybody and kind of talk about the idea behind it and just have a good time. Like, this was like the highlight of my day so far. So I really appreciate everybody coming by and saying hi and whatnot. Like I said, the whole purpose of the title of this video is to kind of direct people over towards my Patreon because I'll be doing a lot of tutorials. I'll be doing all of them live streamed, and it just gives you a chance to ask me questions in real time on technique and supplies and just everything that you can imagine, color choice, just drawing, whatever you can think of at the time of the live streams. And I hope that I can get a few new patrons by talking about it enough on the live streams. It's for $5 a month. For just $5 a month, you'll have access to at least 8 hours of live streaming, tutorial, real-time drawing, step by step, all that fun stuff. It's going to be painting, it's going to be drawing, it's going to be coloring with colored pencils. There will be one painting one a month at the least because I want to paint, and possibly more. You'll have access to my Patreon feed, which will be not only the live streams but also all of my reference photos and digital color palettes. So it's basically access to virtually all of the tools that I use plus my live streaming tutorials. So if you're interested, I would really, really appreciate you supporting me on there. And then if you don't want to do $5, you can do $1, whatever amount. It doesn't change the amount of gratitude that I have for everybody. So I'm grateful for all of you that show up and listen and hang out. It makes working on some of these projects a lot of fun. So even if you don't support me, just coming by and hanging out on the live stream is more than acceptable to me, and I'm super grateful for all of it. So with that said, I think that I'm going to go ahead and say peace to everybody. I hope that you have a lovely week. Remember, on Wednesday, I'm going to be live streaming an acrylic kind of fantasy landscape kind of thing. That's going to be this week's tutorial. I'm going to be using Logitech Basic Paint, so just in case you want to kind of follow along, you can get your paint ready. And that's pretty much it. Tomorrow there is a video going up. It's going to be a collaboration with another YouTube artist, so if you enjoy it, make sure you go check out her channel. I've done a collaboration with her in the past, and I'm super excited about the collaboration. It was so fun to do. And then, of course, nothing else for this week, actually, as far as live streaming or anything like that. If you're asking if PayPal works, you can do PayPal with Patreon or debit card or anything like that. Anyways, Yes, so I will see you guys Wednesday for the tutorial and next week for the drawing journal. And, have a great week. I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.